Welcome back. In the last video, we talked about how humor is important in a classroom. Now we will explore another of the pillars of learning, making mistakes. And what's more important about them, not feeling ashamed of making them. Let's start with a simple truth. If your students are not making mistakes, they could use a little push into making a bigger effort. In many classrooms, mistakes are treated as something negative, something to avoid, something to correct quickly, something that signals failure. But in language learning, mistakes are not a problem. They are evidence of learning in progress. They are essential learning events. Every mistake is a signal of effort, a sign of experimentation, and a step toward understanding. But this only works if students feel safe. And this is where humor becomes transformative. The question is not whether students make mistakes. The question is, what do we do when they do? The way a teacher responds to mistakes shapes student confidence, willingness to participate, long-term learning behavior. And this is where humor becomes a powerful tool. When a student makes a mistake, several things happen instantly. They become self-aware, they may feel exposed, and they may anticipate correction. If the response is too direct or too serious, the student may shut down and avoid speaking again. They might also lose confidence. This is often described as an increase in the affective filter. A high affective filter blocks learning. Humor lowers this filter. It changes the emotional meaning of the mistake. It changes the mindset from, I made an error, to, this is something we can explore together. In short, when you use humor, students laugh instead of freezing. They engage instead of withdrawing, and they remember instead of forgetting. Mistakes become shared experiences, not personal failures. Picture this scenario. A student says, "Yesterday I go to the park." And the teacher responds, "No, that's wrong. You must say went." What happens? The correction is clear, but the emotional impact might be negative. Some students will stop speaking. If we imagine the same situation, but apply a different approach. Yesterday, I go to the park. But this time, the teacher answers.
This sentence stayed in the present. It didn't travel to the past. What does it need?
They will likely get the correct answer. Went. This works because the mistake is externalized. It's the sentence, not the student. And the tone is lighter. And because it lets students participate in the correction. Instead of saying, "You made a mistake," say, "This sentence has a problem." This small shift reduces personal pressure and encourages analysis. Another powerful strategy is to make your own mistakes visible. Example, I just said, "He go yesterday." That's not correct. Good, now we can fix it together. When humor is used effectively, mistakes become shared and discussed. In other words, normalized. It is not something to be feared anymore, but laughed at. For another example, write a sentence on the board. She have 3 brothers. Then say, "This sentence is confident, but something is not working." Ask the students, "What do you notice?" They identify the issue. Then say, "The verb forgot to agree." Students might begin laughing, but more importantly, they remember. Because emotion strengthens retention. If a correction is neutral, it is easily forgotten. But if it's emotional, it becomes more memorable. Humor creates that emotional connection. But never forget that humor does not replace correction. It supports it. You still need clear models and correct forms. Humor simply changes how students experience the correction. Now, there are several things to bear in mind here. You should not ignore errors to keep the fun atmosphere of the classroom or avoid interrupting a laugh. You should not either overcorrect without sensitivity, as it would reduce the confidence of the students. And also, you need to avoid using humor that might confuse the meaning or unclear jokes. Effective teaching requires clarity, support, and engagement. Humor helps with both support and engagement, but clarity must remain. We will cover this aspect in following videos, but for now, keep this in mind. Not every mistake needs humor. Use it when students feel tense, the mistake they made is common, or when the moment allows for reflection. Avoid it if students are already confused, time is limited, or if their emotional sensitivity is high. When students experience mistakes positively, they take more risks, speak more frequently, and develop resilience. They begin to understand that mistakes are not something to avoid. They are part of learning. In the next section, we'll explore the different types of humor that can work in a class and which types you should avoid. The Optimo project has been co-funded by the European Union.